From Bloodhound Q50's Suburban beginnings, to Polo G's honor roll past, to Baby Chief Doit's TikTok-built image from the outskirts of Chicago. These are the drill rappers who started out as regular kid Maftski. Maftski spits like he's straight out of the South Side, all body talk, scoreboards, and full auto threats. His visuals stay loaded with ski masks, disses, and Glock switches. Copy-paste drill energy straight from O-Block and STL. But under the mask and mic, the story's different. Maftski ain't from no war zone. He's from Hazel Crest, a quiet south suburb outside Chicago. Not Parkway Gardens, not the Wild Hundreds. It's driveways and lawn chairs, not yellow tape and sirens. He's claimed Roseland ties, but records and locals say otherwise. The internet been on his neck. In 2024, he tried to argue that being from the suburbs still counts as being from Chicago. Reddit and TikTok didn't let that slide. Tski became the face of the fake tough debate, repping a lifestyle he ain't have to survive.
Right?
Yeah, but the hood ain't like 15 minutes. Like the DT from the south suburbs, 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Like 25 minutes, you know, without traffic, 30 minutes with traffic.
Still, the music knocks. Body, belt talk, catch a bee. He sounds like he's been in the field. The rage, the tone, the confidence, it's all there. But the question ain't about delivery, it's about reality. Did he live what he raps? Or is he just good at making it sound real? That's where Tski stays, on that line between performance and authenticity. In drill, bars hit harder when they come with background. The streets respect pain, not just production value. Rappers who lived it get a pass. Rappers who watched from a window get questioned. Maftski didn't make it out the trenches. He built a persona off them. And now, every song, every video, every interview puts that act to the test. Guero 10K. Guero 10K, born Christian Cavazos in 2001, grew up in the quiet suburbs of Houston. His childhood was far from the chaos he'd later rap about. Front yards, safe streets, and a family that gave him options most kids in the trenches never get. But once he started rapping, he dove headfirst into a street persona. He aligned himself with the 10K gang, flooded his IG live with flashes, and packed his lyrics with body talk like it was everyday life. It wasn't just influence. He was trying to live and look like a full-time stepper. Online, fans crowned him one of Houston's hardest. Comment sections and YouTube reactions called him a demon, the realest in H-Town. But locals and forums weren't buying all of it. They labeled him a cosplay gangster, someone safe trying to move like a field-certified. In 2018, the role turned real. Guero got into a beef with fellow Houston rapper Cash Out Ace. Words turned into action, and Guero's crew slid. The hit left 5, including 2 grandparents who were just at home, uninvolved. Guero didn't hide from the attention. He fueled it. He posted online like it was a trophy, doubled down in his music, and treated them as currency for clout. The internet ate it up for a while. Views spiked. His name buzzed harder, and the myth of Guero 10K grew. But law enforcement was watching. They classified him as a documented gang leader, tying him to multiple things over 4 months. With evidence stacking, Guero pled guilty. 5 murders, life without parole. At just 22, he went from a suburban kid with choices to spending forever in a cell, all because he played a role so hard it swallowed him whole. NLE Choppa. NLE Choppa, born Bryson Lashin Potts in 2002, was raised in Memphis's Parkway Village. It wasn't a gated suburb, but it also wasn't the city's most violent zone. He had a stable home life, with his mom, Angela, not only supporting him but managing his career. He played high school basketball and had a clear structure around him. Nothing about his early life screamed certified street rapper. Then, Shot of Flow dropped in 2019, and everything shifted. At just 16, Choppa came in with pure drill energy, fast flows, Memphis bounce, and heavy talk, shootouts and bodies. His image was wild, fro out, hoodie up, and music videos full of sticks and street crews. Fans crowned him the next Memphis star, while some critics pointed out the gap between his background and the life he portrayed. For his first run, he stuck with that image. In videos, heavy gang references, and bars that mirrored the war talk of rappers deep in the life. But by 2020, he made a hard pivot. He started pushing meditation, veganism, and alkaline diets on social media. NLE went from rapping about spinning blocks to posting about planting gardens.
To be able to just be able to get your breathing right, focus on your breathing, and deep meditations, I do those a lot. Like if I'm about to lay down, and I just lay down and focus on my breathing. And people say
he became a walking contradiction, preaching about aligning chakras one day, dropping an aggressive freestyle aimed at ops the next. The switch split his audience. Some saw it as growth, an artist maturing past the image that made him famous. Others called it a fold, trading a switch for Sage and trying to rebrand from drill playlists to the health food lane. But the truth might be that the peace-preaching NLE was closer to the real Bryson all along. Shotta Flow could have been the calculated mask to get his foot in the door. Either way, his career showed how image can be built, sold, and swapped without the momentum. NLE Choppa proved that shock value might make you blow up, but it's the balance between who you are and who you present that decides if you last. Bloodhound Q50. Bloodhound Q50, born Michael Cooper, grew up in Merrillville, Indiana, a place close enough to Chicago's energy to feel it, but not deep enough in to live it. He wasn't posted up in trap houses or dodging on the walk to school. He had a 2-story home, a family that cared, and a stable setup. His early music reflected that. It was flex rap, foreigns, designer fits, and easy money talk. That lane changed fast in 2024 when his cousin and close collaborator, Lil Jeff, was killed. The loss flipped a switch. Q50's sound went from light brag rap to full drill, dark beats, revenge bars, references, and a cold, empty tone. His single, Splash Bros, hit heavy with fans. Every drop after got darker, more aggressive, like he was personally in the war he rapped about. But the truth, he wasn't. Q50 studied the streets, then wrote himself into them. The industry saw the potential. Labels like Colia and Signal leaned in, packaging his grief into an aesthetic that sold. He got compared to King Von, but the forums pushed back, calling him a copy, saying Jeff's gave him a ready-made narrative. The labels didn't care. He had the voice, the image, the lingo, and the pain, even if the pain wasn't from living that life day to day. Then, December 2024 put his persona to the test. Caught with a Glock fitted with a switch, exactly like the ones in his songs. Lines like, riding up the 7, clutching on the Glock, went from metaphor to police evidence. He did a year inside, his first actual run-in with the life he'd been rapping. When he came home, the music kept coming, but his energy was different. That 1 year left a mark deeper than any verse. The street finally touched him, and it wasn't in the way he'd been performing for the mic. Baby Chief Doit, Baby Chief Doit, 17 years old, raps like someone who's been through hell and back. His delivery is cold and flat, like the weight of war is on his shoulders. But his actual story, different. He's from Chicago, but not the blocks drill was born on. Not O-Block, not 63rd, not Lamron. He's from the edges, outside the core neighborhoods where drill is style, not survival. He's close enough to study it, far enough to avoid its cost. Old clips surfaced on Reddit showing him dancing and joking around before the music. No street posturing, no stepper energy. It was performance before pain. By the time he dropped his debut tape, Animals Only, in 2024, he had the formula down. Heavy, chaotic beats, reckless bars, and enough street slang to make it sound like he was active. He talked switches, ops, and scoreboard checks like a war reporter. But every word was crafted for effect. This wasn't therapy, it was strategy. Drill was already trending, and he treated it like a content wave to ride. It worked, views climbed. His name started getting mentioned alongside artists from the real hotspots. But there's a cost to that approach. Talking like a puts a target on your back. When your songs read like hit lists, real steppers might want to see if you're really outside. Baby Chief Doit isn't the first rapper to fake the funk, but at his age, he might be the boldest to push it this far. And the deeper he plays the part, the harder it's gonna be to separate his act from his reality, especially when the streets decide to pull his card. Central C, born Oakley Neil Caesar Sue in 1998, built his name as one of the UK's biggest rap exports, but his real background doesn't line up with the trap life narrative in his bars. He grew up in West London, first Ladbroke Grove, then Shepherd's Bush. These areas have their rough corners, but they're not the war zones UK drill often comes from. His mom's English. His dad has Chinese and Guyanese roots. After his parents split, he lived with his mom and brothers. Life wasn't glamorous, but it was stable. No daily gunshots, no constant gang tension, no outside the flat. Central C's admitted in interviews that he wasn't deep in the streets. He says he grew up fast, helped his mom with bills, and stayed out late, but never got pulled into gang life. Still, when you hear tracks like Sprinter or Day in the Life, you'd think he was trapping heavy and ducking feds every week. The detail in his delivery, the betrayal talk, the drug flips, the street codes, sounds lived in. In reality, most of it comes from stories he's seen or heard around him, not from personal scars. That's where Sench's skill shows. He knows how to make it believable. He's polished enough to dominate charts and pull global collabs, but still gritty enough to keep a street edge. The aesthetic works in both lanes, and he's mastered walking that line. Some fans respect the move, calling it smart branding. Others say it's cultural hijacking, borrowing from black UK drill culture for clout without having to pay the price that comes with it. Whether you rate it or not, Central C isn't pretending he's got a past he doesn't. He just packages the sound and image in a way that makes it easy to believe he does. In today's industry, that's often all it takes. You don't have to come from the struggle if you can make the struggle sound marketable, and Cinch plays that game as well as anyone. Back J, real name Javon Crump, 19 years old, out of Fort Worth, Texas. Not the trenches. No set, no ops, no shootouts. Just a regular upbringing and a head start most don't get. No hood trauma, no rap sheet, just talent, work ethic, and a phone. He started dropping music in 2020, building slow. Junkie Money and Reap in 2024 took him viral. His delivery's sharp, cold, aggressive, like pains in the background. But there's no record of any street ties. No cases, no beef, no war stories. What he does have is over 1 million TikTok followers and a loyal fan base that eats up the energy. While some rappers came up ducking, Back J was cashing out his mom with $20,000 in content checks. He's not hiding the fact he had support. He said it himself. His mom made sure he stayed out the mess. But when the music plays, it sounds like he came up surrounded by chaos. That contrast is what fans debate. Some call it smart marketing. Others say it's all cap. Fort Worth got pockets, but it ain't like that. And Back J raps like it is. He didn't need the hood story. He used the sound and look instead. Turned drill delivery into content, and it worked. But the problem with playing war is that sometimes war answers back. When you rap about smoke long enough, somebody might test if you really want it. Back J's another example of how performance can blur with reality, and not everyone's ready when the line disappears. Slim Jesus. Slim Jesus from Hamilton, Ohio, hit the scene in 2015 with Drill Time, a full Chicago-style visual package. Masked up homies, guns in frame, bars about catching bodies and spinning on ops. The beat and flow were straight drill, delivered like he'd been in the field for years. For a minute, it looked like the genre had its most unexpected new face. On camera, Slim sounded like a vet, talking murders, retaliation, and gunplay like it was his daily life. But behind it, there was no gang past, no charges, no real street resume. Just weeks after the video went viral, he told the truth in interviews. He wasn't out catching bodies, he just liked the music and the style.
For the most part on the street, like, I got homies that are in shit, and I know people who are, and people around me. I mean, I'm not out here catching bodies and shit, obviously. Like, I'm smart, but, like, I mean, I know people, and I've been, in some situations, but I'm not, like, out here people.
That split the audience quick. Some gave him props for being upfront, saying drill's a sound, not a requirement to live your lyrics. Others called him a studio gangster, pointing out he was using the pain and danger of real street life for clicks, while actual drill rappers were getting locked up or for the same content. After that, the hype cooled off. The mystery was gone, and the suburban Ohio kid rapping like a Chicago hitter lost the shock factor. He kept dropping music, but nothing hit like Drill Time. Slim Jesus turned into a drill cautionary tale. You can fake it enough to go viral, but once you admit it's just an act, the streets won't ever put your name in the same lane as the ones living it. Lil Mabu, real name Matthew Peter DeLuca, was born in 2005 and raised in one of the wealthiest parts of New York City, Manhattan's Upper East Side. His childhood was pure privilege. He attended the elite collegiate school, a $60,000 a year private institution with a history dating back to 1628, known for producing some of the city's most well-connected graduates. After high school, he went on to study at Emory University, keeping him in a world of gated campuses and academic prestige. There's no record of him coming from a dangerous neighborhood, no gang ties, no brushes with the law. His upbringing was comfort, safety, and access. But in his music videos and online persona, Lil Mabu steps fully into the role of a New York drill rapper. He raps about sliding on ops, moving with and maneuvering through street politics like someone raised in the middle of it. Songs like No Snitching and Mathematical Disrespect have the same energy and style you'd expect from artists who grew up in the city's roughest blocks. He uses aggressive flows, op talk, coded street slang, and fast, bass-heavy drill beats that mirror the sound built in neighborhoods far different from the one he grew up in. His visuals lean heavy on drill imagery, crews in ski masks, dark alleys, block parties with heavy street presence, often featuring real NYC drill rappers to make the setting feel authentic. One of the most telling moments in his career so far came with Teach Me How to Drill, a collab with Fivio Foreign. The video doesn't try to hide the gap between his reality and his rap persona. Instead, it turns it into a joke. Fivio sneaks into Mabu's dorm room in disguise, giving him a crash course in how to be a driller. It's half comedy skit, half music video, and it works as both a marketing tool and a way to lean into the absurdity of his position. By poking fun at himself, he sidesteps some of the authenticity criticism, using self-awareness to disarm it. Still, the authenticity debate follows him. Critics label him a parody of drill and the poster child for suburban cosplay rap, saying he's repackaging the trauma and lifestyle of real street rappers into entertainment without ever having lived it. They see his act as performance art, not a genuine contribution to the culture. Supporters argue the opposite, that he's fully aware of the role he's playing, and that drill, like any genre, can be a creative space where not every lyric has to be autobiographical. To them, he's simply a smart marketer who knows how to package and sell a style. What's clear is that Lil Mabu's backstory is not built on loss, violence, or survival. There's no tragic origin, no block to claim, just calculated branding from a kid who grew up in wealth and figured out how to tap into one of the most aggressive, image-driven rap subgenres in the world. His success shows how drill's visual language and sound can be detached from the lived experience that created it, repurposed for viral content that thrives on platforms like TikTok and YouTube. Juice WRLD, born Jared Anthony Higgins in 1998, became one of the most influential artists of his era without ever being tied to the streets. He grew up in Homewood, a suburb of Chicago, far from the South Side blocks where drill was born. His childhood was middle class and stable. His mom kept him away from explicit rap, pushed schoolwork, and encouraged music. In school, Juice was the kid more into gaming and instruments than street politics. He learned piano, guitar, and drums young, with early influences coming from pop punk, rock, and emo bands. When he started rapping in high school, his beats carried trap drums, but his lyrics leaned heavy on vulnerability and emotion, not drill's body counts or war stories. His breakout in 2018 with Lucid Dreams and All Girls Are the Same put heartbreak, drug use, and mental health struggles front and center. He'd used some Chicago slang in his flow, but he never tried to brand himself as a driller. He didn't flash gang ties, didn't fake affiliations. He was clear about being an outsider to that world. When Juice WRLD in December 2019 from an accidental overdose at 21, he left behind a legacy built on honesty and emotion instead of street credentials. However, some drill purists kept him at arm's length because of his suburban roots. Drake. Aubrey Drake Graham, born in 1986, came up in Toronto's Forest Hill, one of the city's most affluent neighborhoods. He lived with his mother there, spending stretches with his father in Memphis. His upbringing was comfort, private schools, a bar mitzvah, and acting gigs. Most know him first as Jimmy Brooks from Degrassi, the next generation, not from any block or street crew. There's no hood origin story, no gang initiation, just an early career in TV and a direct path into music. When he broke into rap, Drake's lane was emotional storytelling, smooth hooks, and personal reflection. But over time, he's mixed in flashes of a harder image, throwing subliminals in beefs, repping the 6 as if it's a battleground, and surrounding himself with figures who are actually tied to Toronto street politics. His visuals and features sometimes mirror the style of rappers whose reputations were built off real street credentials. The reality is, his background doesn't match the rougher side of that image. He didn't come up or trapping to survive. Critics say those moments are calculated branding, ways to borrow hip-hop's authenticity cues without the lived experience. Supporters argue it's just part of what makes Drake dominant, his ability to adapt. He can step into drill, trap, grime, or dancehall flows convincingly, even without being a product of those environments. At the core, Drake's story isn't about surviving the streets. It's about mastering cultural adaptation. He blends the aesthetics of multiple rap subcultures into a chart-ready formula, pulling credibility through association with artists who did live that life. For some purists, that's exactly the issue. He can wear the look and language of street rap without ever paying its cost. For others, it's proof of his skill. Drake doesn't have to be from the trenches to run a genre born there. Polo G, born Taurus Tremonti Bartlett in 1999, came up in the Marshall Field Garden apartment on Chicago's North Side, a spot long tied to poverty, but not so much for heavy gang presence. His childhood was shaped by the same realities that define much of the city's drill scene, losing friends to violence and run-ins with the law, but he wasn't particularly involved in that lifestyle as a kid. After high school, Polo G was accepted to Lincoln University with plans to major in broadcasting. Most people from his block never even see that as an option, but he had the grades and ambition to make it happen. He never went by then. His early singles were bubbling, and music was already becoming his way forward. But that acceptance letter is proof his life could have gone in a completely different direction. In the booth, Polo G mixes the rawness of drill with melody and reflection, finer things, and Through Da Storm, pull straight from his experiences, but they're delivered with storytelling that goes beyond pure aggression. He can rap about with the same weight he gives to the pain of losing people close to him. That balance, authentic street perspective with a different level of introspection, is what separates him from a lot of drill artists. Because his background matches his bars, Polo G doesn't face the fake street claims that follow other rappers. He's not repping a life he only watched from the sidelines. He lived it. But he's also proof that even in drill's hardest environments, there are artists with options outside the cycle. For Polo G, turning down college wasn't about avoiding work. It was about betting on himself and building a career in the lane he knew best. 6999. Born Daniel Hernandez in 1996, blew up in 2017 with the kind of image built to break the internet. Rainbow hair, face tattoos, screaming ad-libs, and drill-style beats laced with street threats. His breakout track, Gummo, was pure aggression, packed with gang signs and red flags in the visuals. Overnight, he went from a Brooklyn deli worker to a face in New York's street rap scene, positioning himself like he'd been certified in the trenches for years. The reality was different. Hernandez grew up in Bushwick in a working-class home, not rich, but not raised in a gang household either. Before rap, he hustled clothes and built a following off shock value posts, not block work. His connection to the 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods only came after his career had started moving. The affiliation, whether fully genuine or mostly for image, gave his music videos a stamp of authenticity they wouldn't have had otherwise. For a stretch, it worked perfectly. The controversy, the trolling, and the street visuals pushed his tracks up the charts and kept his name in constant circulation. He picked public beefs with everyone, fellow rappers, whole cities, and his numbers kept climbing. But in 2018, the same gang ties he flaunted became his downfall. He was arrested on federal racketeering, weapons, and conspiracy charges alongside alleged 9 Trey members. Facing decades behind bars, he made the move most street rappers can't recover from. He cooperated. In court, 6999 testified against his co-defendants, pointing out 9 Trey members and breaking down their operations. His cooperation cut his sentence down to 2 years, and he walked free in 2020. But in hip-hop, snitching is the ultimate line you can't cross. From that point on, his name was permanently tied to it. For a lot of people, it confirmed the suspicion that the street persona was just branding, a role he played for streams and clout. After prison, he tried to keep the momentum with tracks like Gooba and Trolls, this time leaning into the rat image as part of his marketing. He doubled down on trolling, but the threat factor that once made him polarizing was gone. What was left was pure spectacle, controversy without real danger behind it. If you like this video, click on a video on either side to watch a video similar to this one.